Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Sergiy Tsivkach. He's the CEO of UkraineInvest, a government subsidiary helping rebuild the Ukrainian economy, to discuss Ukraine's economy and how it has adapted to war and evolving for future investment. Sergiy, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you for the invitation.
You got it. How is Ukraine's economy adapting to war?
Well, bearing in mind conditions, because we are at the moment during a full-scale military invasion, we are doing quite well. Our GDP has shrunk in 2022 by 29.1%. At the same time, in 2023, in first quarter, the growth was already 2.4%. Our key policy rate has been decreased recently from 25% to 22%. Also, inflation was increasing in 2022 and it reached 26%. At the same time, now we have only 12%. Also, our international reserves are $41.7 billion. This is thanks to effective actions of government of Ukraine and international support, because we have received about $60 billion of international support from our partner countries and international organizations during the last year and a half.
Which de-risking and incentives mechanisms exist to invest in Ukraine?
Well, we have several. Some of them are proposed by Ukraine. So we have a draft law that has been passed in the Parliament of Ukraine, and it will enable National Export Credit Agency to de-risk investments into Ukraine. Also, we actively work with other partners from US, Development Finance Corporation, from MIGA, World Bank's subsidiary. They provide special programs that can cover investments into Ukraine. German government actively working on programs for German companies investing in Ukraine. Polish government is now considering a draft law to cover investments into Ukraine by Polish companies and by international companies, as well as Ukrainian incentives for investments. So Ukraine at the moment can provide up to 30% of capex of the total investment for companies that will be developing processing industry in Ukraine, real estate, healthcare, any other sectors that are relevant for Ukrainian development. And we can provide corporate income tax reliefs for up to 10 years, for example.
Why should American companies invest in Ukraine?
Well, there are many factors. I would name a few, probably because Ukraine can provide American companies with a significant raw materials base. Ukraine has been ranked 25th in the global mining index. Also, Ukraine is very effective in terms of nearshoring. I would call it right-shoring. So the relocation of the company, American company, to a jurisdiction where you have most potential for economic growth. So according to Savills nearshoring index, Ukraine has been ranked number 2 out of 40 countries. And for example, Mexico was ranked number 15. Also, Ukraine has 19 FTAs with 46 countries. So that creates a lot of opportunities for American companies to bring industry, to bring technologies to Ukraine, and then cover market of up to 1 billion consumers. This market is reachable within 2,500 miles from Ukraine. So a lot of potential, a lot of investment projects that will be happening in Ukraine. Specifically, this is of interest to American companies.
Sergiy, what's the most promising sector of the Ukrainian economy to invest in right now?
Well, we can look at sectors that were not affected significantly during the war, such as IT sector, for example. IT sector grew by 25 to 30% in pre-war times. And even in 2022, the sector has grown in terms of its export outputs by almost 6%. But we also need to understand that Ukraine has suffered a lot after Russian attacks. And when we look at construction materials, that brings a lot of potential to manufacturing companies. Because in Ukraine, only 170 residential buildings were destroyed or damaged. This creates a lot of potential for companies that will manufacture construction materials. Companies like Kingspan, they're already making a smart move because they're entering Ukraine. They will invest at least $300 million, and they will build the biggest technological campus in Ukraine within their group globally. We have now about 4 projects from similar companies that are considering Ukraine. Also, agri-processing. This is a no-brainer for anyone who is interested in making profits and also supporting Ukraine, supporting global food security, because we have a lot of raw materials that needs to be processed to cover national, regional, and global markets.
Right, and to that point, with a lot of raw materials and rich resources, do you think Ukraine could become an international hub for producing motor and electric vehicles as we think about this energy transition?
Absolutely, and we have about 22 companies already investing in Ukraine. They mostly produce manufacturing automotive parts, but they produce these parts for some major brands like Lamborghini, BMW, Volkswagen Group, Porsche, and other famous brands. Ukraine has plenty of engineers, and it was ranked 15th in Global Skills Index. So any company that will be producing electric vehicles and motor vehicles in Ukraine, they will not feel any shortage of labor force in order to produce their products. Also, we have special incentives for electric vehicles. Until 2036, Ukraine will provide a zero CIT for companies that produce electric transport. And also until 2031, there will be exemption from duties on equipment that will be used to build manufacturing facilities to produce electric transport.
All right, Sergiy, we appreciate the insight, and we also wish you and your family and the Ukrainian people well. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you.